Affective filter theory. Factors composing the affective filter. Defining input and intake. Input is whatever stimuli which a learner may be exposed to. For example, reading a book, listening to a conversation, or watching a movie in any language. Intake is what a learner takes with him over a period of time and can later remember. Krashen 1883 did suggest that input gets converted to intake through a learner's process of linking forms to meaning and noticing gaps between learner's current internalized rule system and new input.
Affective factors are the most important aspects in second language acquisition and English teaching. These factors include emotion, feeling, mood, attitude, and so on. These affective factors in language learning act like a filter, which filtrates the amount of input and intake on learners' brains. This is known as the affective filter theory proposed by Krashen. Krashen argued that affective filter is a kind of psychological obstacle that prevents language learners from absorbing available comprehensible input completely. It can be said that affective factors determine the proportion of language learners' input and intake. The affective factors include certain emotions such as motivation, self-confidence, anxiety, and so on in a process of acquiring a second language. These negative emotions prevent efficient processing of language input. On the contrary, the positive emotions promote the efficiency of a process.
Factors composing the affective filter. Krashen has mentioned that there are mainly 4 factors that can influence the second language acquisition, which are responsible for the individual variation. First, motivation. Motivation is a combination of effort plus desire to achieve the goal of learning the language, plus a favorable attitude towards learning the language. Motivation is the process by which goal-directed behavior is stimulated in language learning. It drives and directs behavior. Second, self-confidence. Self-confidence is considered to be another significant factor, which profoundly influences the learner's language performance. The students who lack confidence are usually found to be extremely fearful and timid, reluctant to express their opinions, and even unable to utter a complete meaningful sentence in class. Of all the possible characteristics that can affect language learning, self-confidence is very important for the following reasons. Self-confidence will encourage a person to try new learning. One will be willing to take some risks in order to be successful. A confident person rarely gives up. With these abilities, a confident student can succeed in language learning. Successful language learning only takes place in an environment where learners' values and positive attitudes are promoted, where learners approach learning with confidence and joy, where learners can use the target language at ease. Therefore, teachers should spare no efforts to create conditions that can be conducive to a student's self-confidence.
Anxiety. Anxiety is another particular affective factor. It is the apprehension experience when a situation requires the use of a second language with which the individual is not fully proficient. Students with anxiety attending the class will feel nervous and afraid to cooperate with teachers, and then they cannot concentrate on learning points and waste their energy, or they just want to flee the learning task. Communication apprehension. It is an individual level of fear or anxiety associated with either real or anticipated communication with another person or people. Test anxiety. Test anxiety is a psychological condition in which a person experiences distress before, during, or after an exam or other assessment, to such an extent that this anxiety causes poor performance or interferes with normal learning. Test anxiety can develop from a number of reasons. Prior negative experience with test taking that serve as the activating event. Students who have experienced or have a fear of blanking out on tests or the inability to perform in testing situations can develop anticipatory anxiety.
Created using Powtoon.